What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, it seems as if undefeated two-division world champion, who's the reigning WBC middleweight world champion, superstar boxer Jermall Lions Only Charlo, 32 wins, no losses, no draws, 22 big wins by way of knockout. He's 31 years of age. He stands at 6 feet tall with a 73-inch arm reach. Last time we saw him in the ring was June of this year when he took on defeated Juan Montiel, and he got a unanimous decision victory over Juan Montiel. With that said, Jermall Charlo has now threw his hat in the ring to replace four-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer who's currently the unified super middleweight WBC, WBA, WBO, Ring Magazine super middleweight world champion superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez to face undefeated IBF super middleweight world champion superstar boxer Caleb Sweethand Plant. Okay, Canelo Alvarez, Caleb Plant have been in negotiations for all undisputed showdown. Caleb Plant, 21 wins, no losses, no draws, 12 big wins by way of knockout, 29 years of age, stands at 6'1" with a 74-inch arm reach. Okay, last time we saw Caleb Plant in the ring was January this year when he took on defeated IBF mandatory challenger Caleb Truitt via unanimous decision victory. With that said, he was in talks and negotiations to face off against Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, he made some demands that Caleb Plant said it just got to the point where it got ridiculous and the negotiations fell apart. With that said, Canelo Alvarez is on the verge of trying to secure a showdown with light heavyweight WBA undefeated Russian light heavyweight superstar boxer in Dmitry Bivol. So Canelo Alvarez, he's looking to face off against Dmitry Bivol in his next outing at light heavyweight. But the funny part about it is Dmitry Bivol team is preparing themselves to come down to 168. Dmitry Bivol, 18 wins, no losses, no draws, 11 wins by way of knockout. He's 30 years of age, stands at 6 feet tall with a 72-inch arm reach. So he's actually shorter in stature than Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant is an inch taller than Dmitry Bivol, and he has 2-inch arm reach advantage over Dmitry Bivol. Okay, so the news is that Canelo Alvarez is looking to secure a fight with Dmitry Bivol. Dmitry Bivol and his team, they're not sure where this fight is going to take place. Is it going to take place at light heavyweight, 175, or is it going to take place at 168? Canelo Alvarez, 56 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, 38 big wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, standing 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. Last time we saw him in the ring was Cinco de Mayo weekend of this year, May of this year, when he took on defeated former two-division world champion, WBO super middleweight world champion, British superstar boxer Billy Joe Saunders. So, with that said, the negotiations fell through, and now Jermall Charlo is campaigning to get a fight with Caleb Plant. Now, Jermall Charlo, he recently stated that he's not a super middleweight when undefeated two-time WBC super middleweight world champion Mexican superstar boxer David Benavidez called out Jermall Charlo on numerous occasions. And Jermall Charlo, he stated that he's not a super middleweight, not a 168-pounder, okay? But now he's saying he'll go to 168 and he'll fight Caleb Plant and he'll knock out Caleb Plant. He says he wants to replace Canelo Alvarez for September. I don't know how realistic that is because September's around the corner. We're already going into August 1st in less than 48 hours. So September 18th was the target date. Now that's 7 weeks away. It's still a possibility for Jermall Charlo and Caleb Plant to do business. But Jermall Charlo, he recently broke his hand in his fight with Montiel. So is he going to physically be ready and prepared to be able to face off against Caleb Plant in September? I highly doubt that. I think if this fight does come to fruition, it'll be moved back. But with that said, Jermall Charlo, when asked about David Benavidez, who stated he'll come down to 160 for the Jermall Charlo fight. He just wants to fight Jermall Charlo. He just believes he'll fight Jermall Charlo. Well, that kind of fell on deaf ears. It was ignored, okay? Jermall Charlo didn't respond to David Benavidez saying he'll come down to 168, okay? And so with that said, you know, Jermall Charlo is now saying that he'll fight Caleb Plant in replace of Canelo Alvarez, then the winner fights Canelo Alvarez. Well, ironically enough, this is what David Benavidez was saying. Now, I know the case is going to be made that Caleb Plant has a belt. But David Benavidez, he stated, I should fight Charlo, and the winner fights Canelo Alvarez. That was met with a response of, we don't need David Benavidez to get a Canelo Alvarez fight. That's what that was met with. We don't need David Benavidez to get a Canelo Alvarez fight. So to say now that you would fight Caleb Plant and the winner gets Canelo Alvarez, and again, like I said, they're going to use the case that David Benavidez doesn't have his title and Caleb Plant is the IBF champion. Okay? But one can argue that David Benavidez is a bigger star than Caleb Plant. Okay? David Benavidez, 24 wins, no losses, no draws, 21 big wins by way of knockout, 24 years of age, stands at 6'1" with a 74-inch arm reach. Okay, 74 and nearly 75-inch arm reach. He's scheduled to face off against Jose Uzcategui August 28th. I'm feeling like that may change. I'm feeling like David Benavidez may be subbed out of that fight and subbed into another big fight. Possibly, we know that Caleb Plant and David Benavidez, they have a history, okay? And they've been calling out one another for quite some time. They clearly don't like one another. And so with that said, David Benavidez, he wants this fight with Caleb Plant. David Benavidez lost his belt. Obviously, he's undefeated, so he's never lost it in the ring. He's lost it outside of the ring. He lost it going into his fight right as the pandemic was at its highest, and he lost it on the scales. And Canelo Alvarez, as David Benavidez stated, immediately petitioned to fight Avni Yildirim for the vacant WBC title that he vacated due to losing it on the scale. He eventually made weight, and the fight took place, and he got a stoppage victory. Nonetheless, the WBC seems to always want to cater to Canelo Alvarez, and they gave him the belt. 32 board members voted, 31 members on the board voted that Canelo Alvarez should fight for the vacant WBC title. So there was somebody on the board that didn't agree, but 31 out of the 32 members voted that Canelo Alvarez should fight Avni Yildirim for the vacant WBC title. So David Benavidez, he says that he was going to fight Avni Yildirim at some point in time anyway, but they gave the fight to Canelo Alvarez, and he seems to be the odd man out. So he's recently, campaigned to fight Jermall Charlo, to fight Canelo Alvarez, to fight Caleb Plant. He just wants to simply fight the best. So Jermall Charlo, like I said, the case is going to be made because they already stated that why should they fight David Benavidez, because he brings nothing to the table. He doesn't have a belt. Well, in my opinion, I just feel like that's the easy way out because he lost the belt on the scale during the pandemic, okay? And yes, he did lose the belt prior to that, right? He lost the belt prior to that, when he, he indulged in recreational use outside of the ring, okay? And that was met with, a lot of critique as well, okay? And he's since passed that. He's a young fighter. He was 22 years old when that took place. He's very young, okay? He's 24 now. He missed weight on the scale. He's a very big guy. He's dedicated to the sport, and he brings a lot to the table. So I just feel like that's an easy way to maneuver around fighting David Benavidez. I just feel like that's a way, it's an easy way out. I believe that David Benavidez is viewed as the tougher out than Caleb Plant. And so Caleb Plant is still a tough out because I personally believe that Caleb Plant's style may be all wrong for Jermall Charlo. He's bigger than Jermall Charlo. He's quicker, he's slicker than Jermall Charlo, and ultimately he has faster feet than Jermall Charlo, and he has respectable power and a great jab. He's just more fluid. Jermall Charlo is more stiff, okay? I believe that Caleb Plant just may see Jermall Charlo's punches coming more so than Jermall Charlo see Caleb Plant's punches coming, okay? So I think that, Caleb, it's a 50-50 fight, but I would favor Caleb Plant because of his slick style And we see that Jermall Charlo, his last couple of fights, he has, not shown the best outings, okay, to say the least. And so David Benavidez, he says, I'll knock Jermall Charlo out, and he knows it. I'm going to stop him. Thus the reason why he's not trying to fight me. And it just simply doesn't look good if you look into, well, I can't say it don't look good because, again, the case is going to be made. If I beat Caleb Plant, he has a belt. Now I'm fighting Canelo Alvarez for undisputed. But the case was made that Jermall Charlo stated that David Benavidez, he wasn't a super middleweight. Yes, he did state that he brings nothing to the table. He's not a champion. But he also said, I'm not a super middleweight. I'm a 160-pounder. I'm looking at campaign at this division. But there's nothing to campaign at 160 if you're not going to fight Demetrius Andrade, undefeated 2-division world champion, who's the reigning WBO middleweight world champion. You're not going to fight him in a unification bout because of what took place 5 years ago when Demetrius Andrade was signed to fight his identical twin brother, who's the 2-time unified junior middleweight world champion, and Jermall Charlo. Because Demetrius Andrade, week of the fight, pulled out the fight, cited that he should be getting more money, so on and so forth. Bad move on the part of Demetrius Andrade, so he said he'll never fight Demetrius Andrade. Gennady Golovkin, who's the IBF champion, and Murata, who's the WBA champion, have no interest in fighting Jermall Charlo. So what fight is worth taking at 160? There's big fights for Jermall Charlo at 168. And his trainer and manager, and Ronnie Shields, he's let it be known that Jermall Charlo definitely can make 168. Easy. He's a big 60. So, the big fights are at 68, but he says that he wants to replace Canelo Alvarez for Caleb Plant. That fight, I believe, would take place in the fall sometimes, possibly in late October, because you're going to get Sean Porter and Terrence Crawford in November. You're going to have Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, October 9th. So maybe following that October 9th, maybe the end of October, you get Caleb Plant versus Jermall Charlo. If it does happen, September is off the table, I don't believe. At least September 18th. Now, they can have it the end of September, right? But then you're working on going into that time frame of Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury trilogy. So that's you're treading on thin ice when you do that. So let's see how this all unfolds and plays out. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for you. Peace.
Hey, this is Ebony Bridges, Blonde Bomber, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.